Hello boys and girls, it is I, the HEMA Reviews guy, and today I want to talk about a very important topic, which is head trauma and especially concussions in HEMA. Now this is a touchy subject. Some say like you're a wuss if you think concussions happen or if your head hurts, which is absolutely stupid. Don't do that. Concussions are a real thing. They can happen in HEMA and they're very dangerous. And then you have like the others that go, you should not use any force when you strike because concussions happen very easily. So I want to open a debate here. I am not a medical professional, so if you are a medical professional, please chime into this debate. But here is how I see things. So concussions basically happen in one of two ways. The first way is that the brain hits the wall of the skull, and the second thing that can happen is that the wall of the skull hits the brain. So the mechanisms in which this happens are twofold. Actually, they can be threefold. One is sudden acceleration. So when you suddenly accelerate, you have your brain, you have your skull goes bam into the brain. The second one is sudden deacceleration, which means that your skull is moving, but your brain wants to stay put and it goes bam again. And the third one is force transfer, where the force is actually transferred and your brain kind of just bounces around your skull a little bit. The first two aren't really that much of a problem for us. And here's what I want to actually mostly talk about. We cannot go and say, oh, they have this many head injuries, head trauma and concussions in boxing, and they have this many head injuries in rugby and American football, because it's not the same mechanism, as far as I can tell at least, of the concussion happening. Like in American football, you will have sudden acceleration and sudden deacceleration when you bump into someone and you bring them to the floor. So your head will be moving very fast and relatively far. We don't have that in sword fighting. Same happens with boxing. When somebody punches you in the face, your head is going to move, your brain is going to want to stay where it is, and your skull is going to hit your brain basically. And we, as a rule, when somebody hits you with a sword, you don't go bam. Your head does not move, or it moves very, very minimally. Now, this is also one of the main reasons that padding in rugby is not all that effective, because when you move something quickly, you cannot stop the brain, which is on the inside of the skull, actually hitting the skull. Same goes for boxing. It doesn't really help much. Like if you have the big padded helmets, yes, it helps because some of the force is absorbed by the padding, but not as much. What the padding does help with, however, is force transfer, which is what we have. So what we have is basically somebody strikes you with a sword. Your head is going to stay mostly in place. Your mask is going to take some of the force out of it, but it's still going to bump into your head, and your skull is going to still transfer a little bit of the force into your cranial cavity with all the liquids, and the brain is going to bounce around a little bit. And this is even more problematic if your mask does not fit you well, and if it does not have enough padding. So padding absolutely helps with this, and you can actually try this yourself by just putting on a scrum cap. Just put on a scrum cap, then put on your helmet, and you will see how much more comfortable it is to actually get strikes. So that is what I wanted to talk about. Please, I know I've seen a couple of people on the internet and live going, oh, scrum caps don't help with concussions, because they saw it on the internet that scrum caps don't help with concussions, and that is true in the case of American football, which has a slightly different mechanism of getting concussions in the first place, same as boxing. I am not saying that we do not have any risk of concussions. We have quite a large risk of concussions if we use our equipment inappropriately. However, we can mitigate it, and I'm actually very happy that people have started using scrum caps a bit more, especially in my club, because I'm an advocate for it. And I'm also happy to see that we are getting some companies such as Rearguard and I think it's Loyola Air Mask that put more emphasis on having more padding inside of the mask, which helps with the force transfer. I hope this has been useful. Please leave comments below. I want to have a good, nice debate over this. What do you think? Have you had concussions before? Of course, concussions that were done in a HEMA setting. I know some people have had them, I know some people have had light concussions. This is no joking matter. Concussions are very serious, so I want to have your experience shared here, and especially if you're a medical professional, if you're a doctor that specializes in head trauma, please chime in here in the comments. If I've said anything wrong here, do correct me, and I'll put this video down and put a new one up just so that misinformation doesn't spread. So, thanks for watching, hope this has been useful to you, and until next time, have a good one.